Hello, I am Batman. Why? Because I'm Batman. Why am I here? Because I'm Batman. And today, we're here to talk about one of the coolest things that I've ever been in the past few years. It is called Batman Caped Crusader. It is a brand new show that is on Amazon Prime right now. It has me in it, so that automatically makes it awesome. Definitely check it out if you haven't already, because I'm in it. Because I'm Batman. Okay, that's enough of that. Ugh. Sorry, it's just whenever I am doing a Batman review, I am very tempted to do this because I love this freaking mask. But I kept it out of the DC Live ones because I didn't want to be cringy. But for this one, I had to. I had literally no other choice. I literally had to, because this is a pretty momentous occasion we have here. Because after a good while, it's time to talk about a brand new Batman animated series that's on Prime and not on HBO. Well, Max, whatever, surprisingly enough. But also, surprisingly enough, it's also an amazing series, despite only being 10 episodes. And even though I'm leaving spoilers out of this, we still have a lot to talk about, so let's not waste any time and just dive straight into it. Now that we have the cringiness out of the way. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Image Station, which is a fan of the animation, including TV and movies as well. I'm your host, Jackson Small. I thought we were done with the DC stuff, but nope, not yet, because this came out literally the day after DC Live concluded. It's not going to be part of DC Live, because obviously it's freaking August, but I still want to talk about it, because I'm a huge Batman fan, and I was super excited for this show. And after all the years of development that it had to go through to even get made in the first place, it lived up to it and then some. I'm so used to saying movie, I'm sorry. This show is so dang good. Like, excellent. Easily one of the best shows of the year. And considering that this is a year that has Hazbin and X-Men 97, that's saying something. So, I'm not going to waste any more time. I have a very lengthy, long written review for this one. And while I did say I'm leaving out spoilers, there's still a lot to talk about, so get comfy. Here is my spoiler-free overall review of Batman Caped Crusader. I hope you enjoy. Yes, there's been a lot of cartoon Batman series in the past, but no matter how good or average they are, none of them have come even close to the iconicity, praise, or astronomically high quality of the original Batman animated series. That to this day is still praised highly by pretty much everybody. However, with a huge majority of that show's original crew returning, not to mention also having the full support of both J.J. Abrams and even the man who brought the fantastic 2023 Batman film to life himself, Matt Reeves, as executive producers, and this is even being made under J.J. Abrams' production company, what was it called? Toy Robot? Boy Robot? I forget what it's called. But this is under J.J. Abrams' company. There was a lot to look forward to with this new project. Then you add on a mostly new voice cast, aside from one, we'll get to him, the 1940s setting, a return to the amazing visual style of TAS, and a storytelling tone akin to an old-school crime noir rather than a straightforward action fest, and anticipation for me was, needless to say, very high, being a huge Batman fan. And I'm happy to say that not only did it live up to the hype, but I'd go so far as to say that it's a more than worthy successor to the animated series, and this will be the animated series of the new generation. This show's amazing, and I'm about to tell you all about why. The story's great. The animation is stellar, especially the use of lighting and shadows. The characters are outstanding. The writing is some of DC's best in a long while. Hamish Linklater, I gotta talk about this guy. He is a fantastic new voice for Batman. Like, fantastic new voice actor for Batman. He's a great Bruce Wayne. He is a fantastic voice for Batman. And he does an amazing job as both parts. And also giving character to the character. Like, I can see this being this generation's Kevin Conroy. That's how good he is in this role. Sure, his voice is a little bit deeper than Conroy's, and it doesn't have the iconicity of Conroy, obviously. But for a brand new first-time Batman voice actor, he did a damn good job. Like, I was so surprised how well he did as Batman. He was so good as Batman. And I hope that he gets to keep voicing this character in both more seasons of the show and the DC animated movies going forward, because, oh man, I can't even begin to describe to you how great of a Batman he is. He's great. The Rogues Gallery, while very different from the usual fare, are a lot of fun. Like, this does have some different versions of those iconic Rogues Gallery characters. And considering this is one that doesn't have Joker, that's pretty impressive. Like, you have a female-swapped Cobblepot that is way more menacing than usual. You have a different Harley Quinn that doesn't have a Joker and is acting all on her own, and is surprisingly pretty damn scary. You have Gentleman Ghost, a really cool, iconic, underutilized character, as a literal menacing ghost that can't die. I don't know how they did it, but they managed to take a lot of the iconic established rogues. Got Catwoman. Like, Catwoman in the show is so good. Not to mention, she gets to use her classic iconic suit from her first appearance comic book. Like, they did such a good job reinventing this rogues gallery into this brand new story. And it works so well. Like, yeah, you have the obvious people that are going to be like, oh, well, it's gender flipped, so it's bad. Or, this character has this relationship now, so this is bad. First of all, ignore that crowd. They're idiots that don't know what they're talking about. Number two, these are really good versions of these characters. I'd argue some of the best we've gotten in a while. With the exception of one, and we'll talk about it when we talk about it. But yeah, love the Rogues Gallery in this one. Very interesting new versions of these characters. Some of the imagery and deaths are brutal as hell. This is stamped with a TV-14, and it earns that TV-14. You see faces melting off. You see people getting shot, like, a lot. There is blood. There is a lot of violence. There is some gruesome, graphic imagery. Like, this is an adult Batman series in every sense of the word. Kids can still watch it, but it has some very gruesome moments. Which, of course, makes it amazing. The noir tone is consistently ominous. It does a great job doing what the 2023 Batman movie did so well. That crime noir tone rather than being a straightforward action movie. There is action in it, but it puts the emphasis on the detective work and the noir storytelling. Like, it is so good here. Like, so good here. I know it technically doesn't count as a part of the Reeves Batman verse, but I can definitely see it as part of that verse, because it has a lot of the same great traits of that movie. So, the noir tone, consistently ominous, incredibly well done. Character development's excellent. The continuous narrative is effective. The new Batsuit is really cool. It's a nice callback to the Year One suit, while also standing out in its own unique way. The best way I can describe this Batsuit is that it is very stripped down, classic, laid back. It's not super complicated. It doesn't have a million gadgets. And it's also an amazing amalgamation of both his iconic first appearance suit with the gloves, but also the Year One suit with the longer ears and the more stitched together design, rather than the refined costumes we see later on in more in Batman stories where Batman is adult and he's an established character. Seriously, the Batsuit here is great. I love the Batsuit in here. It does a great job fitting this story very well. The detective work is genuinely engaging. Another great carryover from the Batman 2023. Like, in that movie, the detective work was great, and it was genuinely engaging. And here, it's also genuinely engaging. Seeing all this different legal action to try and take out these corrupt cops and all these cartels. Like, it is legitimately engaging and incredibly thrilling to watch. The action is phenomenal. Like, yes, this is definitely a detective story first and an action series second, but when it does have action, it is some of the most well-done and well-choreographed action that I have seen in any comic book series in a long time. Again, up there with the animated series. From the way that they show the brutality of the actual action, to like the camera shaking sometimes to really show the impact that all these hits are having on these characters. Like, it is, the action in this one's great. And the choreography, like, damn, the choreography is so good. So freaking good action. It's amazing, amazing action. Absolutely phenomenal. The escalation of stakes from episode to episode keeps the tension high. The runtime of under 30 minutes per episode doesn't overstay its welcome. It nails the feeling of the animated series while also simultaneously having its own unique spin, thanks to that crime noir 1940s tone. The voice acting is amazing. Like, I already talked about Hamish, but like, everyone in this show is amazing in their roles, especially one in particular that we'll get to later. But so much great voice acting in this show. I loved Harley Quinn's voice acting. I loved Catwoman's voice acting. Like, they were all just so incredibly well voiced. Hell, even some of the characters like Renee Montoya or Detective Bullock and Flash, like, they're all so well voice acted. And this is the one consistent thing that most DC properties have gotten done very well. Like, even in the garbage Tomorrowverse, they had good voice acting. And here it's no different. This is the one thing that DC seems to always get right, is the casting and the voice acting. Here, it is genuinely great. The atmosphere is unrelentingly spooky and leaves the viewer constantly on edge. Like, even in the daytime scenes when you think all the trouble is over with, you still feel unnerved because it still has that tone, that noir tone that keeps everything unpredictable. Like, even if you think that you can relax even for a brief moment, then it hits you again. Like, the viewer is always going to be left on edge with this show. And I mean that in a good way. Like, are we really safe? Is this really an okay moment to wind down, or is there just another threat right around the corner and I shouldn't let my guard down yet? Like, it is so freaking good in this show. Focusing on a younger, less experienced Batman was a great choice, as it allows the viewer to see him be more human rather than just a brooder. I will always give props to Batman stories that are able to actually give Batman some kind of humanity rather than just being a brooder. I praised Year One for this, and I'm praising this for it. The diversity of representation is some of the best I've ever seen in animation, especially the LGBTQ community, who's treated with dignity and respect with a brief but genuinely cute relationship that I won't dare spoil. I mean, yes, we already know about Harley being LGBTQ, but it doesn't say who she ends up with. But I'll just say that relationship, as brief as it was genuinely cute. And sure, it's no Hazbin Hotel. Hazbin still did an amazing job with giving those other communities that representation. But here, it's still really well done, and it fits the story surprisingly well. So, yeah, that crowd saying that this is bad because of this are idiots and don't know what they're talking about, because this is genuinely great. Amazing representation, I'm glad to see it here. And rewatchability being pretty damn high, especially as a huge Batman fan. Like, I want to watch this series again. Like, yes, I know I have to review Attack on Titan this month, but I want to watch this series again whenever I actually have the time to. It is such a freaking damn good show, and the rewatchability, I'm pretty sure, will only make it even better. Especially when and if we get a second season. However, there's just one flaw, and sadly it's something I previously addressed during my review of The Long Halloween, that sadly got repeated here. Another retelling of Harvey Dent and his descent into becoming Two-Face. Yep, they did it again. This story's so overdone, man. Credit where it's due, it is actually a little bit different from the usual story, which I did appreciate. And Diedrich Bader, a former Batman voice actor, and the only voice actor in this entire cast that's actually returning from previous DC properties, because everyone else here is new, pulls off an insanely good performance as his character all throughout the season. Like, Diedrich Bader, if it weren't for Hamish Linklater being such an amazing Batman, Diedrich Bader as Harvey Dent would be the highlight of the show. And his actual voice acting and his performance of the character is fantastic. showing how diverse he is. But, however, it does still feel like a bit of a rehash, which, after seeing this particular character's origin being told so many times, is getting tiring. Not entirely the show's fault, but it is an issue. Like, I said it in my long Halloween review, I'm going to say it here. Stop doing this story. It is getting extremely overdone at this point. And yes, you did do something different with it, which unfortunately I can't talk about because it falls directly into spoilers, but it is different. But it's still very tiring and overdone. Stop doing this storyline, please, DC. You're overdoing it. Overall, though, that does little to detract from the incredible experience that is the show overall. It does such a great job recreating the magic of the animated series while also standing out in its own unique way. Put simply, Batman Caped Crusader is a phenomenal new series for this iconic character's legacy, and Amazon Prime has yet another excellent original animated series on their platform, alongside Hazbin Hotel and Invincible. Highly recommended to fellow Batman fanatics hyped for Season 2. Seriously, this better be getting more than one season, or I'm gonna be livid, because this show is amazing. Final verdict for this series, for me, as a huge Batman fan, is going to be a high 9 out of 10. I bet you, if it wasn't doing the overdone Harvey Dent story again, this would be a 10. It has the potential to be a 10. It does a great job at doing everything that it sets out to do and then some, as well as being the animated series of the next generation. A lot like how Mutant Mayhem is the 1990 Ninja Turtles of this generation. This show is so damn good, and you have to check it out if you haven't already. Highly recommended to Batman fans. Do not let any of the diversity or any of the other controversial crap scare you away, because this show is incredible, and is more than worth the price of admission. And yes, I think it's better than X-Men 97, fight me. So, yeah, that's it. That finishes off my spoiler-free review, but still pretty long review, of Batman Caped Crusader. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time when we finally take a break from DC, for real this time, and start our coverage of Attack on Titan.
You cannot take it anymore. The time has come. Prepare, finally ready for